What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, delarose.com. Today, we are looking at the destruction of Marvel superheroes. And it all started back in 1979 when Tony Stark first used alcohol in a negative way and then eventually train wrecked, spiraled into the drunk alcoholic Tony that is a non-functioning human being and makes terrible decisions all the time just because of his addictions. Now, that's not a very good hero, especially for little children to be reading and looking up to and trying to figure out what's right and wrong in society. The next part is Ant-Man, came in 1981. And this is very interesting. I didn't know the history about this. Is that whoever allowed Ant-Man to be his wife did a piss poor editorial job, ruined the character forever. 100% stand by that. And I said, heroes should be heroes. A is A. Ditko was right. And this goes back to a couple of different things, of course, which I'm blending into one concept. The concept of heroism, the concept of good characters, the concept of just non-dark and edgy storylines when you're trying to make some, basically kid stories. It's just not right, and it wrecks the characters when it happens. And what happened was with Ant-Man, they turned him into a serial wife-beating, terrible person as a superhero. And this came along because of a story that happened in 1981. I guess Ant-Man was getting a little aggressive at that point. Apparently, Jim Shooter wanted him to kind of throw up his hands in the air and act like and accidentally strike Wanda to kind of have a revelatory moment. It was supposed to be an accident. And the way the artist drew it ended up being a big problem where it was just like a boom. And I'll grab that image still and put it in the thumbnail here so you guys can see that. But from there forward, the writers just made him this insane wife beater. And this happened later on, of course. It came down in the Bendis Millar era, if you remember. When those guys started running amok with Marvel Comics, what they did was turn everything darker, everything edgier, everything into like some sort of HBO Max situation. Gosh, this arrow is really distracting on this tweet. Anyway, there we go. And because of that, the Marvel Universe just became this really dark, disgusting place. And you start reading stuff like Uncanny X-Force later that builds upon that. And you have all these heroes who are going around murdering people preemptively in order to make their points. And they all hate it themselves. And it's all a train wreck. And then that leads into, it's not Marvel Comics, but they're all the same pool of people. Tom King's Batman, where Batman sits around moping depressed that he never solves anything while other people try to take up the mantle for him. And that is where comics went, and that was the destruction of our heroes in our culture as it spiraled and snowballed out of control. Very interesting. Just talking about this with Gail Simone this morning, a little bit. I mean, back and forth on Twitter. But everybody kind of agrees in a large sense, if you think about it, that these characters are ruined and that there's a lot of problems. If you look at Gail's original tweet on this, she says she doesn't like Hank. She probably wouldn't like to write a story where he was a big part. She doesn't find him interesting. Janet is more fun without him. Of course, not a fun character to write at this point. I mean, he's already gone through the ringer, and it'd be very difficult to write him and maintain continuity at this point if you were given that assignment. I 100% agree with her there. But where Ditko was right is Ditko was talking about this for a long time. He would write essays about how heroes need to be heroes, how they need to actually exemplify what's right in society. He gave Peter Parker and Spider-Man and all that a pass because he was a kid, and kids are going to make mistakes as they learn to grow and figure things out. But when somebody's an adult making good, rational choices, they should, in fact, be making choices that are heroic when you're painting a picture in art and all that in order to tell a good story. And I 100% agree with that. I think everything went off the rails when everything went all dark and edgy. And I think it's continuing to go off the rails to this day. I think they haven't really learned their lesson. They're still pushing the dark in that direction, and they're ruining characters even to this day. So it's a bummer to watch. It's very easy to solve, and that's why I just write books that don't have that element to it. It's pretty simple. But these characters, these corporate properties at this point, you really can't go back once you've opened that can of worms. And if you're trying to maintain continuity, unless you completely erase everything and redo it from scratch, like they have attempted to do several times, but never quite do all the way because they're I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know what any of these people are thinking, to be honest. But it's easy to do. So you can get this in independent comics now. You can get Real Heroism now. We've changed the culture. We've done things. And that is that. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I hope this was informative and useful. You still can go back my Flying Sparks to show you a little bit right now. There's a pre-order store, which I got right here. So if you missed it on Kickstarter, missed the 30-day window, we've got a little bit going still. As soon as I go to print, it's over. But of course, it's going to take a little bit to get all the files ready for print and all that. So you got a couple weeks here. And I've got every Flying Sparks copy and every other comic I have in the store. So you don't have to go through Amazon. You don't have to go through Kickstarter or anything. This all goes direct. I've even got signed copies of my novels for you, T-shirts and posters. Very simple stuff. I'll put that link down below. Thanks, guys. We'll be back soon. Leave a comment down below about what you think about heroism in comics. Always happy to hear and beat this drum. I think it's important for our culture to get back to good being good and bad being bad. Very simple concept, but simple in simplicity, there is beauty. See you soon.